Very good morning to you. Welcome to the Friday edition of the show. It promises to be exciting. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
I am Tayo Salam. It's great to have you join us again. All right, this is what the show looks like. We're starting off, of course, still talking about the AFCON qualifier fallouts. NFF President Ahmad Pinnick has come out to defend Gernot Rohr, saying the German coach is not going anywhere and he will remain coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
All right, so we'll be talking about that much later on the show. The comments of the NFF president on the controversy surrounding Gernot Rohr after the sports minister questioned his competence and says the needful will be done. But it appears that the NFF wants to go in another direction. So we'll talk about that much later on the show. Let's go to basketball and talk about this guy. Last year when in Game 5 of the NBA Finals, where I think this incident happened, torn his ACL, felt so sad for him. And a lot of people thought, oh, he was coming back. But injury setback for Klay Thompson, the Golden State Warriors. It's a huge blow. Just when a few days, weeks to the season.
Yeah.
And now this comes huge blow.
Oh, too bad. Too sad for Klay Thompson. Major injury setback. Got injured during a workout and he's been ruled out for the season. Season hasn't even started. Quite sad indeed. We'll be talking a lot more about the situation of Klay Thompson shortly. Let's go to the ATP Finals in London, where Rafael Nadal is now qualified for the semi-finals for the 6th time after taking out defending champion Stefanos Tsitsipas in their final game.
All right, that's how we start the show today. We talk about what happened yesterday in the ATP Finals, and later we go on to what's going to happen today. But Rafael Nadal bounced back from the loss in Game 2.
Yeah.
We always knew it was going to be tough against Stefanos. Stefanos didn't want to go out as well, so you could understand why it was a bit feisty. But one person wanted it more. I guess that person was Rafael Nadal.
And you can say that again.
He ended in favor of Nadal, who was made to, in my opinion, was made to work hard to get that victory. But all is set for him now. He goes into the semis up against, I think, Daniil. So because Daniil Medvedev has won 2 games already. So
yeah. I mean, it was always going to be a very competitive game. It was a straight-up shootout between Tsitsipas and Nadal for a place to qualify for the semi-finals. So Rafael Nadal through to the last 4 of the ATP Finals for the 6th time in his career, and of course his post-match reaction is understandably very delighted. Looking forward to that semi-finals against Daniil Medvedev, which is going to be a repeat of their 2019 US Open final. Of course,
and
Nadal
if that is anything to go by, it's a thriller. That one was a 5-setter.
Well, what a match that was.
I mean, I'm still trying to remember this. So if it's anything to go by, trust me, the semi-final, and if Daniil still has one more game to play,
but it's
inconsequential because he's already won that
advanced
group,
already. Anyways,
so
we'll see.
It's good Nadal is looking forward to it, but it's a big hurdle.
Big one. Medvedev is coming off the back of winning in Paris, so he's got that momentum on the side. And
London
Nadal,
is looking good for him as well.
London is looking good, exactly. Yeah. So it'll be a very, very tough and exciting fixture. Indeed. Let's go to the other match in Group London. Was between Andrei Rublev, who's had a breakthrough season, against Dominic Thiem. Dominic Thiem already secured qualification for the last 4. Andrei Rublev lost 2 out of 2 and didn't want to go out of this competition winless. So,
all right, Rublev, I kind of feel for him though. But he's had an amazing 2020, and he should take consolation in that, and he can look forward to 2021 if he continues the way I mean he's done in 2020. It's going to be very difficult to say that he's not going to be in the running for a Grand Slam.
Very, very difficult. Very impressive with the way this guy has handled himself in 2020. Very difficult season for everyone because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Boys, reason above all of that. 41 wins,
Yeah.
5 trophies, the most on the ATP tour this year.
season. Yeah.
That's very impressive. And I think he's here to stay. He doesn't look like one of those guys that have just come, flash in the pan, and they disappear next year. He's been super consistent, and I expect him to fully carry this momentum into the new year. Anyway, so that's it for Group London. Let's come back and talk about Group Tokyo 1970. Today, there's a big matchup in that one involving world number 1, who has to win his game to qualify for the last 4. Novak Djokovic, that's what I'm talking about, is going to take on Alexander Zverev in Group Tokyo 1970. And the winner of that match will go on into the last 4. The second match in that group is between Daniil Medvedev and Diego Schwartzman. Yemi said already, Medvedev
Done
and dusted. So perhaps we're going to expect a flat Medvedev. I don't know.
You're going to expect a motivated Schwartzman
who doesn't want to lose.
Who does just want to leave London without a win.
Yeah.
So, but for Novak and Zverev, I like the conditions within which the match is going to be played. Both need to win. And there's no hiding place in tennis, no draws in tennis.
Nah.
Somebody has to win. Somebody has to come out on top.
Wow.
And that's why it's going to be fireworks in this one. For Daniil, he might just come out there and, I mean, he already knows he's going to face Nadal. So for these two, they know that, look, the Dominic team is waiting in the wings. So that's it. But I don't know. My mind tells me it's Novak. Because if there's ever a player at the crunch time, at those kind of moments, the big occasion, if there's any player that I trust to come through, is Djokovic.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to come through. But if Zverev pulls it off, then he'll hand my surprise. But I like the conditions, no excuses, nothing whatsoever. Both players wanting it. So it's going to be interesting. And I feel a little bit of sympathy for Zverev because of the issues that he's had to deal with. And even though he's playing tennis, those issues keep resurfacing. Instead of people leaving him to his tennis, they keep bringing those issues up. He keeps trying to defend himself and focus on his tennis. I don't know if that's going to be a distraction, but I think it's going to be the juggernaut. I think it's going to
juggernaut, right?
Yeah.
So those guys have met 5 times. Djokovic has got a 3-2 lead. So head-to-head. So like maybe it's going to be 4-2 or 3-3 at the end of tonight. That's it for the ATP World Tour Finals in London. We're not leaving tennis just yet. We're starting to look ahead to next season. And the first major of the year is the Australian Open, where Novak Djokovic is the defending champion. But there are issues. I mean, when this all started at the end of the year, we thought by the time we get to December, COVID would have been gone and we return to normal life. But that's not the case. So going into the Australian Open, the Australian authorities, they're still putting in all these incredible, strict COVID protocols. And one of them is that you've got to be in the country and quarantine for 14 days. And because of that, players are starting to get worried how they're going to, play games before the Olympics, before the Australian Open and all of that. So Djokovic, of course, a
leading voice.
A leading voice, of course. World number 1, defending champion, wants to go to that competition with a very good chance of winning. He's just trying to tell the authorities to just try and consider them and be more accommodating. I don't know what it means by that, but let's listen to Djokovic, speaking on why the Australian government have to be more accommodating, to the players going into that competition. So, like we said, it's all about having a suitable, or let me put it, an appropriate build-up to the competition. That's what his worries is about.
Yeah, I agree with him. And, what he said sounds more like an appeal. Let's see if we can reach a compromise. On this part, he says, look, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to go. And I jokingly, while we were off air, while we were listening to that, I was saying maybe they need to start cutting their holiday plans. If you have to be in Australia, in Melbourne, earlier than whatever it is you have to do.
Yeah.
Because these guys have done a lot of work to ensure that their country is not ravaged by
Exactly,
COVID-19.
and they don't
you
want
can't
to.
disrespect the effort
True.
that they've put in. So I can understand. I can understand both parties. I'm a sports journalist. I want sports to go on.
Yeah,
but I'm also a human being. I know that these things,
Yeah.
a lot of lives have been lost. So
True.
there's that delicate balance. And so
And
hopefully we'll get that delicate balance.
yeah, it's very important. And you talked about you being very understanding. Another person who understands the situation, why the protocols are very strict, is Alexander Zverev, or number 7. All right, then. That's it. Australian Open 2021. Still some time away. Let's leave the tennis court now. Let's quickly go to the basketball court. And not good news at all. Terrible, devastating news concerning Klay Thompson, the one half of the Splash Brothers. We didn't get to see them last season because of injuries, and we were all looking forward to seeing this year. Splash Brothers, Klay and Steph are back and are going to be running the show again. But Klay Thompson has now been ruled out for this season after suffering a right Achilles tendon injury. The injury occurred during the workout on Wednesday in Southern California, while with other NBA players. And what more can we say about this? Too sad.
When the first one happened in 2019, and we all clapped for him in Game 5, where even with the torn ACL, he still came in for some free throws and showed what a fighter he is. And you know that for this to have happened, it's a massive blow. It's a dampener because the Splash Brothers and the Warriors, they were trying to ride it out.
Yeah.
Last season, they tried just to ride it out, hoping that this season would be better.
Clean slate, fresh slate, and look at this again now. I don't know what to say. But a bit of good news, or you say consolation, is that he's expected to make a full recovery. I mean, that's still good. It's not career ending.
We're already hearing that they're thinking of replacements because obviously
they've got to somehow replace. Too bad. We wish Klay Thompson all the best, fullest recovery as soon as possible.
All right. So that's it. With that story on the NBA, we need to go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, of course, we'll talk about Aaron Okodri, talk about football, the mild drama going on with the situation of Coach Gernot Rohr. We talk about that and some other interesting stories on Sports This Morning. But we need to go on that break and come back for more. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you've missed quite a bit, but there's still a lot for you on the show. Let's bring you into all that we're doing this morning. You can get across to us for your questions, comments, suggestions on the issues we're discussing. You can send us a mail, sportsthismorning@channelstv.com. Get across to us. And tweet at our verified handle, @channels_sports. Let us know how you feel, especially about the mild drama going on with the situation of the Super Eagles coach Gernot Rohr. The minister says the needful will be done. The NFF president says, no, we can't sack him. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. We talk about the NBA, we talk about tennis. We're going to talk about Aaron Okodri. That's where we're going next. Africa's highest ranked player and Nigeria's finest. Talking about Aaron Okodri. It was in China. So let's just get into it. Let's move on and talk about Aaron Okodri. Aaron Okodri at the ITTF Grand Finals.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
live to fight.
obviously happy.
Yeah.
Living his dreams.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
Never been there before.
Never
it's not gone
qualified.
there.
Gets the chance to do it. And I'm so happy for him. And as we approach the Olympics, I'm hoping that, because to be the best, you have to beat the best. So more of this will happen, but I'm hoping that on the day he faces some of these guys, he plays his best tennis and something happens to the other guy. Because that's what you're left with.
I'm going to look at it from the other way. I'd rather not he faces any of these guys. They probably get knocked out already. He gets to meet a Timo Ball or somebody else from Europe,
guys,
where he's got a lot more
chance.
realistic chance. Anyways, all the best to Aaron Okodri for the rest of the season, of course, as he tries to qualify for the Olympics next year in Tokyo. Let's come back home now and talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. A couple of days ago, the sport minister came out to apologize to the country and said the needful will be done about the coach of the Super Eagles, getting his question, his competency, and his suitability for the role. Yesterday, the NFF chairman, president, has come out to pretty much publicly back Gennaro Rohr. And you've been saying drama, scenes, and I'm trying to wonder, like, do you know something I don't know? Or it is obvious that we're about to see a mild drama between the two parties.
And we just have to wait with bated breath, and it's going to happen very soon. To me, it's beginning to look like a collision course. That's where we're going. The NFF president appears on a program on one of the rival networks, and late last night, and in some of the statements that he made, it's obvious that they're not. I mean, says things like, "Look, the sports minister has already been carried along in all of the things that they've done." And there was a look, we can't sack this guy now. Although there's a little matter of if Raw gets sacked, there's something about compensation on one side. Then there's also the issue about, look, we just can't afford to sack this guy right now. Look, our situation is precarious as it is. We go to Benin Republic, they beat us, it's done. So we don't need to press the panic button. And so I guess that's what he's saying. And as to, a lot of us have interpreted the needful will be done in several ways.
Yeah, because it's open to interpretation.
In several ways. So that's why we're looking at it. What's going to play out? Is this a confrontation? And there's also that, in the clip that's widely circulated that Channels Television also has of the interview that the sports minister granted, he kept on referring to, he used the word interference. That word is what usually gets us into trouble with FIFA. And he kept on saying, this is not interference, this is not interference.
As a matter of fact, he's going to call it intervention.
I
don't know.
I don't understand. But you see, you could say, what do I know? But look, all of these issues might put us on a collision course. And if anybody wants to handle the matter of Gennaro Rohr, I think the NFF is in the best position to do that. And it's their duty.
Of course.
It's their duty. And look, the minister didn't just stop by the coach. He talked about the NFF and the activities as well.
Exactly.
Look, you guys have some explanation to do. It's well within his rights to say that.
The sports minister.
As a ministry that supervises and oversees the NFF. Right. But when it comes to the coach, the appointment, the sacking, the welfare of the national team, is under the purview of the NFF. So, in times past, we've had situations that are not even as big as this, and some folks will just run to FIFA, and before you know it, you have the threat of a FIFA ban. Some people are saying, no, we are not there yet. Okay, that's why we said a mild drama is beginning.
Looks like it's ensuing
out. And so all of us will now be looking forward to the next interview that's going to be granted by the minister or the NFF president or any of their pronouncements. So trust me, their Twitter feeds, Twitter handles will be monitored. Their interviews will be monitored closely. And we're going to see what happens. But what can be said is that the NFF and Coach Gennaro Rohr are under close scrutiny. It's not just the sports ministry. I told somebody in my private chat, I said, all of the things that the sports minister said, apart from the issues about we're going to do the needful, anybody on the street can say that, because that's how a lot of people feel at this moment. But my worry is that there are procedures, and if we begin to do things the way it's not supposed to be done, that's when we invite trouble.
Yeah, it's quite straightforward. The minister, of course, oversees a sports channel, but the NFF, they're the ones in charge of football, exactly.
If you don't like what's going on, a call, those things should be private. Influence is stronger to me than wielding the big stick. You can use your influence, get what you want, but if it appears like, you know what, I hold the big stick and I want to use it,
okay, so let me just say, maybe we shouldn't get too carried away and just think, this is going to be the end of it. See, NFF, the presidents, they feel, okay, those two results against Sierra Leone, exactly to start sucking it, to start the coach and all of that. And if you look at Gennaro Rohr's contract, his record, it's not the worst out there. Nigeria still well placed to qualify for the
Especially if we avoid a defeat.
Against Benin Republic. So I mean, you can understand. I like the fact that the NFF they're taking a very measured approach. That they're not getting carried away.
Yeah.
They're not no knee-jerk reaction because I don't think it's needed at all. Everyone agrees against Sierra Leone. Those two games unacceptable, especially the first one. But I don't think it's enough reason to start calling for the head of this coach. He was on his way to a second AFCON. Got there the other time, got a bronze. Now he's looking forward to going to another one. Perhaps I'll go a couple of steps forward. And his record is not too bad, like I said, 29, 14, and 10 in 53 matches. So, of course, this situation, we'll continue to monitor it. And if there's any updates on it, we will be giving it to you on Channel Sports this morning. So that's it for the. Before we leave it, actually, the tweets coming in as well.
Yeah, let's
take a
very
couple.
sure it's going to be a lot about the situation.
Of course. Ogunfora Bosun, I have your message. You're saying, now that the NFF have officially backed Gennaro, the German tactician must now return the faith entrusted in him by turning the fortunes of the Super Eagles around.
Yeah. I agree, 100%. If things like this happen, I like that. I remember somebody quickly reminded us that we qualified for the World Cup because South Africa came here and beat us 2-0. And it was a reality check. This is a reality check. And all of the things that are going on will probably be looked at.
All right. HJ, Henry Jr., I have your message as well, too. You're saying, of course, you don't agree with the position of the NFF. Please fire Raw and hire a better coach for Super Eagles. Clarence Seedorf and Patrick Kluivert. Going on to, Seedorf, Kluivert. Interesting.
I know we're not supposed to be giving our opinions because we're just here to give information, but that's a knee-jerk reaction. It is. It's pressing the. I mean, a lot of people will say, well, we have 4 months, we can do whatever we do before the next game. But I don't think firing the coach solves. If you're gonna do that, then look, we need a overhaul. We need to overhaul our actions. A lot of things needs to change. And hopefully we use that time to get it right.
Yeah, all right, then let's move on now from Gennaro Raw now. We're still the Super Eagles coach. Our coach was not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, he's now extended. Yeah, he's now a citizen until 2023. Pep Guardiola signed a new contract to remain the Manchester City boss. A lot of speculation surrounding this guy. 7 months on the deal.
The noise was loud.
Yeah, it was growing louder by the day when he wasn't signing a new one 7 months ago.
He kept refuting it.
Anyways.
When the Barcelona issue came up.
That as well. The fact that they're not doing well in the Champions League. And from his precedent from this guy, sometimes he just likes to leave after a few years in the club. Doesn't stay too long, 3-4 years. He's already spent 4 years thereabout with Man City already. So we're starting to wonder, perhaps this is the end of the season for Pep Guardiola. But he's come out to sign a new deal that's going to run until the summer of 2023. It's going to make a stretch as City boss 7 years.
All right, so let's just listen to Pep Guardiola explain things to us. Why he's taking this decision.
I'm grateful for the confidence for all club, all organization, and be happy to continue to do our best for this club, for this organization next years. Well, as a manager, I have everything that I need. So, especially, I know all the managers will depend on the results. Of course, me as well, and we have to win to continue. But I saw many times in the bad moments how the people here support me. Of course, Farhan and Chiki, but especially Khaldun, our chairman. And this time was the main reason. That's why I decided to continue. We have a long talks this week, and all together, and we put the both sides to continue or not. And at the end, we decide the best for all of us is continue, because still we have the feeling that still is not unfinished business, and still we have something to do, continue what we have done the last year.
All right, all is laid to rest. Dust settled. It's going to be there for the next few years. So
2023.
speculations will come to an end.
Yeah, it's all over now. 2-year deal. 6 major trophies won under Pep. Of course, no Champions League. Not even a semi-final which of that competition, which is the holy grail for the City owners. It's got another 2-3 years to try to achieve that now, Pep Guardiola. Let's move on from Pep now to the English Premier League. Premier League is back. All the league action around Europe, they're all back after the international break. Of course, we're focusing on what's going to happen in England this weekend, match day 9 of the English Premier League. Some very interesting fixtures to definitely save. On Saturday, it's going to be Newcastle taking on Chelsea, Aston Villa, Brighton, Tottenham, Man City.
Pick of the pack.
What a game. Will Pep be celebrating his new contract with a win, or it's going to be another win for Jose Mourinho and Spurs? United will also be in action against West Brom. United being very dire at Old Trafford this season. On Sunday, Yemi, it's going to be Fulham, Everton, Sheffield United. They're struggling badly. They need to start getting points on the board. They're taking on the Hammers. Leeds United, Arsenal. That's another big game. Stories coming out of the Arsenal camp. Altercation between David Luiz and Dani Ceballos. Ceballos has come out to deny it. Of course, he's not going to agree, is he?
Obviously not. Obviously not.
Last but not the least is Liverpool taking on Leicester City.
It's going to be interesting. Sunday, Saturday.
Wow.
A lot of football. I'm just hoping that the games will not be dominated about stories of injuries and COVID-19 when these players return. I hope we have less of injuries and we could see a good game. Not much has happened because I trust Jose Mourinho. If any of his players has been damaged in any way, it's going to be trouble.
If you've been following, he's been making his how do I put it? He's making his. He's been telling everyone pretty much. He's not a fan of what has just happened. Players traveling all over the world to go and play these games, exposing themselves to COVID.
Injured.
So he's been very active on Instagram with very sarcastic remarks about all of the things. But his players are back in camp now. I'm seeing Kane in training, no major issues, apart from Matt Doherty. Who's got COVID. But the others seem to have returned unscathed. And so we're in for a very good game between City and Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And talking about all of the issues that have been happening recently, COVID and all of that, a lot of people, a lot of fans didn't understand why international break still went ahead with all the the situation that we're in and all of that.
Well, scrapped some of these matches.
Exactly, where they're really necessary, but you have to be very fair to them as well. So FIFA and all these other bodies have their own competitions to protect as well. So it's a bit selfish to say, let's just play club football alone. Those guys have to protect their own competition as well. They've got sponsors and partners that they have to activate and all of that. So I totally understand it, and that's why FIFPro they've come out as well too that there won't be any problem if
the players are protected.
They're protected and they enforce and implement
the rules that are in place.
To prevent.
They're not saying make new rules.
Exactly.
The ones that you have, please do your best to enforce. Let's just listen to the FIFPro Secretary General. Let's allow him have his say on the show about protection of players and what needs to be done to ensure that players do not become endangered species.
Number one, I think it needs enforcement. So FIFA made these rules in a soft way until now. I think now that we see people not following them, there needs to be consequences, quite frankly. Luckily, we have now a longer period until March for the next men's window, which means there is time to adapt. And of course, we need to see what the crisis looks like in March. But all things considered, probably it's not a whole lot better than it is right now in many parts of the world. So it needs stricter enforcement. I think it needs clearer oversight. We've also asked for certain emergency protocols to be put in place that when these cases happen, that they're handled quicker and handled better. So with all the money that is being redistributed also in these COVID relief plans, etc., probably some of this just needs to be really clearly earmarked to set certain requirements of what needs to be done and what needs to be available in March. And then it needs to be monitored and it needs to be enforced in case people don't follow it. I think that's the only way forward.
Welcome back. Well, we're on the home stretch on the show, and Ben Elias just joined us now. Ben, good morning. It's good to have you join us.
Hey, good morning.
You barely made it.
Better late than never.
Yes.
Okay. All right. There's something interesting that I won't get your opinion on, and you know, the comments of the sports minister and balance it with what the NFF president has now said about Coach Gernot Rohr. We can't sack him now. Let's just back this man for now. How do you balance all of that? So we've called it, have called it a mild drama, but some people are saying, let's not make too much of this thing. It's not a big deal.
Well, I think, yes, we can say the sports minister, as usual, is the general man in charge of sports in Nigeria. And he can talk.
Of course.
On any issue concerning sports, from football to handball to volleyball to any sports. However, my thoughts are that Mr. Sunday Dare should go straight to the NFF, which is also is subsumed under his supervision, and call them and say, look, I don't like the results I'm getting from the national team of Nigeria. I think that's the better way to go.
Without going
to town with his tweets and everything that, because he's tweeting directly and saying, look, we should fire this man. And they are replying him and saying, no, there are clauses in his contract that if we must sack him, where is the money to pay him off? Because what the contract says, from the little I know, is that if you sack him now, you have to pay him all his entitlement before his contract ends. So I think the minister should also be a little bit educated on what the terms of contracts are. It's not, Nigeria is not England or the EPA where you can sack a coach and pay him off. We don't have such funds. The ministry itself is
that buoyant, right?
So what I will say, how much is the budget of the sports ministry?
So Ben, so from what you're saying now is you're looking at the financial implication of sacking Gernot Rohr. You think that's why the NFF are reluctant?
I think that is a major reason that they are reluctant. It might not be a major reason because, look, if you bring a team together under 24 hours and they train only once and they play, unfortunately, a 4-4 draw, and they go for a return leg and they play maybe fairly well and get a goalless draw, you don't blame the coach. Because, I mean, it's not his fault. The COVID-19 and several other factors are hindering the team from training at least twice before a major game like the qualifiers for the Nations Cup. So there are several reasons that can be adduced for this. The last time General went for a major tournament, he couldn't make it to the second round of the World Cup, but he got a bronze medal at the Nations Cup. And so he's getting to understand the team more and more. And it's with a couple of people now who should be helping him. Austin Eguavoen has just been appointed technical director of he knows the team very well. So he should be advising General and telling him, this is what I think he should do. This is what I think he should do. Ideally, he should be the boss of General Rohr. And so I think we should not be in the haste to drive him away.
Oh, fantastic. I was going to ask you what's your position, but
what
you've
about
answered it
people
already.
saying, look, if you're saying all of this, it looks like interference. I mean, on the part of the sports minister, do you think calling for the sack of the manager, asking them to come and explain some things?
Yeah, he hasn't called for the sack.
Let me put it properly.
Yeah.
That the needful will be done, that has been interpreted
As,
in many ways. All of those things, do this look like interference?
Mr. Sunday Dare is the Games Master General of the Federation. Anything he does should not be seen as too much of an interference. Okay. What I think he should do is to interface with a subsidiary of the NFF.
Proper channels.
And call the president of the NFF. Things are going, I don't like it. And then you can even do a memo and say, exclude the media out of the matter for now. Talk privately. I think that is the mature way to go.
Okay. All right.
All right, then before we look at the papers, let's just take a couple
of tweets.
Bakari Olamide, you're saying, I'm not sure the NFF will be willing to sack Gernot Rohr, given the contractual agreement. Of course, yeah, that's always a factor. Do you have enough money to pay off any premature termination? You also go on to say the NFF is the major problem for appointing a coach with no pedigree. Is that a bit harsh?
I don't think he doesn't have pedigree. A coach who has coached Gabon, the national team of Gabon, and he's been Bordeaux. Bordeaux is a
big club in France.
Ligon in France. And I don't think such words are fair to him.
True, I agree.
His biggest job may have been the Nigerian job, but it doesn't mean he doesn't have a pedigree. He has the pedigree.
Nigerians are hungry.
We are angry. Yeah, I mean, if you are playing in Nigeria and you are leading 4-1 at halftime, and then you capitulate and it ends 4-4, Nigerians have a right to be angry, but it doesn't mean the coach doesn't have pedigree.
All right.
I agree as well, too. Can we take one more?
One more?
Yeah, because I'm looking at the time now. Dr. KG Bolarinwa, I've got your message as well, too. You're saying it's a big challenge of football growth in Nigeria. You don't want the sport minister to talk, but when you need money and incentives, you can always shout about sport ministry and the minister. What is the essence of the ministry if they can't query, the Super Eagles' performances?
Balance.
Yeah,
it's a delicate balance.
We are not saying he cannot query.
Yeah, you haven't said that exactly.
We are saying he should
do it properly.
There are channels.
Does have to be played out.
It's the game master general, I insist, but
the fact that
go through the
boss
NFF
is not disputed at
all. But you should go through the NFF.
Okay, Gideon Zaka, we have your message as well to you. You enjoyed the extreme sports from JC Paul, the freestyle around town, just to retrieve his phone. Let's take a look at the papers now before we go. A lot of stories surrounding Getting Raw. Let's start with Complete Sports. Raw is one of the worst coaches in Nigeria's history. That's according to Yakubu Ayegbeni.
Wow.
Well,
that's a massive,
it's a massive attack. Yakubu, I don't know where he's coming from. He has not played under Raw, so he may not have a first-hand knowledge of his tactics and his style. Those who are playing under him, I mean, if we have Joseph Yobo as one of his assistants, Yakubu should talk to Yobo, who was his captain at the time in the national team. And I think that is also the way to go, not condemning, because if you condemn, you are also making the team worse by some comments that we make. I mean, as internationals, as players, somebody who has at one point or the other captained the national team of Nigeria. Yakubu, if I was to advise you, or if you are listening, I think you should go another route.
Should relax.
Yes.
All right.
You should calm down.
Calm down. Okay. Oh, you should start calming down. Okay. All right. Last paper for review. We have 3, but we're going to take 2. Sporting Life is what we have. Next paper for review. A lot of interesting stories. Bottom Street, Ahmed Musa offered to Newcastle, West Ham. Others wants to come back to Europe. 30 seconds. Your take on that? Ahmed Musa wanted to be back where football is played, according to some people.
I think if he wants to come back and he's gotten an offer, he should come back. He's the national team captain of Nigeria, and we want him to play in some of the best club sides in the world.
Where we can see him
Musa,
on a regular basis. Okay. All right. That's a wrap on the show today. First, one to thank Ben for his time. Better late than never. We appreciate the sacrifice. Thank you very much, Ben.
It can be better next time.
All right. Thank you as well for allowing us to be a part of your day. We enjoyed doing this. It's the last one for the week. We'll be back here again next week. But there's still 1 hour of sports later tonight. You can join us for that. But on this show, you can see us next week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
I am Tayo Salam. Enjoy the rest of your day.